How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Story of the Fight. It's your boy Will. Ramiro is out today. He's on business trips. So it's just going to be me talking about UFC Abu Dhabi, RDR versus Robert Whittaker. We had Petr Yan. We had Shara, Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. Some fun fights that we'll talk about. If you're just joining us live, make sure you're in the chat and active. But if you're joining us later and there's specific fights you want to check out, timestamps down below. You can jump to Davey Grant if you want to jump to Davey Grant. You can jump to the Buchecha fight if you want to jump to Buchecha. But if you're here live, jump in the chat because it's just your boy here, so it'll make it a lot better. If you don't want to watch on YouTube like you are right now, it's also Spotify, Twitch, anywhere podcasts are found, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, if you don't want to watch. But we highly suggest watching because we're going to be showing pictures. We're going to be showing clips when they permit us. So yeah, YouTube's probably the way to go, but we can get right into it. Oh yeah, follow us on social media. Thank you, Rich, for putting that up. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, pretty much anywhere social media. It's just going to be Story of the Fight. Easy peasy. Go to storyofthefight.com. It'll list all of it. Click through, follow, all that shit. But yes, let's jump into it. UFC Abu Dhabi. Shout out Blunderbub. Coffee is what's up. Yes, it's early. It's the morning stream. I prefer this. It's 9 o'clock here for me. It's best to get this out of the way in the morning, and we can beat a lot of people to the punch, at least talking about these fights, because you never want to like parrot what other people say or have them influence what you're thinking and all that stuff. Our opinions are our own. But shout out Blunderbub. Thanks for being up, joining the chat. This was a good card. UFC Abu Dhabi. They kind of always deliver because they get a shit ton of money to go over there, and they actually require the UFC to put together like a really good card, and this one was good. We had RDR versus Robert Whittaker in the main event. RDR, obviously double champ over in one championship. He comes over to the UFC and has been on a run going into this fight. 3-0, all finishes. He subbed Gerald Meerschaert in his debut. He subbed Kevin Holland in the first round, and then he TKO'd Bo Nickel. So this is his fourth fight in the UFC. They put him in the main event. I kind of like that they didn't just throw him to the wolves immediately in the UFC. They could have been like, hey, this is double champ in one. Better prove yourself over here and give him, some killer in the top 5 right away. And maybe he could have handled that, but I feel like this was the smarter play because now people have kind of got to see him grow in the UFC to a certain extent. And I don't know, that Meerschaert, UFC debuts are really tough, and we'll talk about that later on in the last fight we cover on this card. But, look at Pitbull, look at some of these guys who've come over from other organizations who were very good. They come to the UFC and they kind of falter a little bit in their debuts. And he got the win over Meerschaert, but a lot of people were like, what? This guy was a double champ? Oh, won MMA in shambles. This guy's not good. This guy sucks. And then so far, now look at him, right? So I think the RDR that showed up for Meerschaert, if they threw him to Robert Whittaker in a main event right away, I don't know if he gets it done. But they have now, 3 finishes. And then Robert Whittaker, he's coming into this talking about one last push for the title. His last fight was that Hamzat fight where he broke all his teeth with that neck crank or face crank. But he beat Paulo Costa, then he beat Aliskerov, knocked him out. And you're like, okay, it's not too bad, right? His last loss before that was the Duplessis fight. Duplessis is clearly very good, so there's no shame in losing that fight. But that's kind of where he's at. He's like, one last push maybe. Let's see what we can do. Give him a main event spot against RDR. Let's see what happens. Right off the bat, RDR is huge. Guys, if he put on a little bit of weight, he'd definitely be a light heavyweight, and I think he'd have a lot of success at light heavyweight too. But he's a double champ for a reason, right? And one. But he's fucking massive compared to Rob. That being said, Rob starts the fight off with the jab. He's so good at darting in and then exiting. That jab is like a magnet. Despite the height and reach disadvantage, he's just cracking. He's tuning up RDR pretty much early in this fight. But one of the things, and RDR still just it doesn't look like he's comfortable getting hit. He kind of like turns away. He doesn't like block or slip or anything like that. Shout out Jake says he would not have success at light heavyweight. I don't know, man. Light heavyweight is garbage. If you look at the rankings in light heavyweight, there's definitely some guys he could beat there. But he's still, I mean, we've seen him take a beating from Anatoly Malikin multiple times. So he definitely, Jake says, dude would get his head knocked off immediately. I mean, Malikin could barely put him out. It took a long time for Malikin to put him out. And we'll talk about his durability in this. I mean, if he's taking those shots from Malikin, he can definitely take shots from some of these guys in the UFC at light heavyweight. Because let's look at the rankings really quick at light heavyweight. Not to get too sidetracked, but let's see, light heavyweight. Alonzo Menafield, Johnny Walker is a fight he could win. Azamat Mirzakhanov, Krylov, I think he probably beats. Ozdemir at this point maybe tunes him up, but who knows, because Ozdemir gasses all the time. And that's what we'll talk about, especially. RDR has some faults in his mechanics, specifically his defense, I would say, but even his offensive striking is very labored, or I don't want to say sloppy, but it's damn near sloppy. He just doesn't look very comfortable on the feet. That being said, his durability allows him to stay in these fights despite getting pieced up a little bit. And, early on in the fight, I think in the first round, he stuffed 3 takedowns from RDR. And we've seen that before with jiu-jitsu guys. They just don't have the best takedowns necessarily in MMA. But they eventually will find a way to make it work. The elite guys will. And, man, RDR, he gets his 3 takedowns stuffed in the first round. But then he gets this takedown in the second round. And part of that is because, I think the big story of this fight is the knees to the body. Robert Whittaker is jumping in with these jabs and then darting out. And eventually, instead of turning away and getting just kind of pieced up by them, RDR starts crashing into those crashes, creating a car crash situation. And he kind of he doesn't, I don't want to say he's slipping the jab, but he's stepping through and landing these knees to the body. And we've seen him, he destroyed Bo Nickel with body work. And he has developed a game, I would say Robert Whittaker has prettier technique. Mechanically, he's more sound, especially with the striking, right? And RDR's best tool set is his grappling, right? His jiu-jitsu is world class. Look at some of the inverted triangles. Some of the shit he's done in the past is incredible, but you have to get them there. And he's developed a game around that, I think, that is what makes him elite. And you might look at him and say, well, he's sloppy. He's kind of a meme fighter or whatever, right? Doesn't really matter if the results are there. And some of the things that he's developed where, like the crashing with the knees to the body, he basically will sap your gas tank. It'll take a while, right? Bodywork isn't immediate, but if he keeps digging to the body with these knees, he'll get the overhook in the clinch and start driving uppercuts to the body. Hold on, Rich. Let's go back one picture. But basically what he's doing is he's surviving off his durability, because he could take a fucking shot. We saw it in this fight. We've seen it in the past. The Malikin fights were brutal. He ate so many big shots in those fights and didn't go out, and which is why I think it might work in light heavyweight. But to a certain point, eventually that'll catch up to you. But for now, he's willing, or maybe not willing, but able to eat these shots, and all the while dig to your body to tire you out to the point where you're not as fresh, and you've been teeing off on this guy. I don't want to call it the Homer Simpson's defense, because it's not, because Homer wasn't knocking people to the body with nasty knees, but he gets you tired to the point where now you're fighting labored, and it almost evens the playing field where you're not as sharp on the feet. That sharpness isn't a big gap between his striking and your striking. You're now tired, you're more labored, you're throwing things more looping, and now it's like a little bit more of an even playing field on the feet. And then you see the takedowns start working because you're tired. In the second round, he took Robert down. He had like 2.5, half the round was spent on the ground, I think. 2 minutes on the ground. Third round, he tags Rob. And when you're tired, you also can't take a shot, right? So he tags Rob. Rob's on the back foot. He's kind of charging in on him. Again, he enters with that knee. And now we can go to the next picture, Rich. And Rob times it with a massive overhand, which you're open for when you're stepping in with knees like that. But I think it's just, it's a great game from RDR, and Rob cracks him. He drops him. I thought it was over at that point because he goes down hard. Rob's on top of him, tries to finish it, doesn't finish it, and he's like, all right, let me get the fuck out of here. I'm not staying on the ground with this guy. But again, that durability from RDR, dude, he can fucking take a shot, man. I mean, most people are done after this punch. And yeah, Blunderbup says the clinch seems to be where he has the most options / success, trips, throws instead of shooting. Yes, but to that point, the takedown that he did land in the second was a straight shot, I believe. And it's just, Rob's a little bit more tired now, and he doesn't have that first layer of defense anymore. Reaction times, right? Hey, shout out Arloisking. Thanks for joining. So close to getting the finish. I know. This is a back-to-back UFC events where we just had Dustin versus Max. I love both those guys. I don't really want to see either of them lose. And this is kind of one of those same fights. I love both these guys so much. And moving forward, it's maybe better for the division that it's Arlo is king. Arlo's king. Thanks, Rich. But it's probably better for the division that RDR wins this fight just because Rob has had his time at the top, which kind of sucks to say, but it still sucks to see a boy lose, right? And he did almost have him here. But RDR gritched through it, and you could see after he survived this, Rob was a different fighter. There's Rob before this knockdown and Rob after this knockdown, and people are saying that he's washed and saying like, oh yeah, he's over the hill. It's not that, dude. He fucking hit a ton of these knees to the body, and then even after he was already tired from all these knees to the body, he expends all this energy dropping a guy. That adrenaline skyrockets. He tries to finish him on the ground. He doesn't get it. And now you're like, fuck, man. And then RDR's back in his face throwing knees to his body. I mean, it's brutal. I think, what was it? They only give percentages, but 38% of the strikes that RDR landed were to the body. I mean, that's brutal. That's fucking brutal. And oh, here we go. There's the numbers. 26 shots to the body from RDR, 41 to the head. So he's investing in that. And like I said, at the start of the fight when both guys are fresh, I think most guys at the top are going to tune up RDR with the hands. But if he can just survive that because he's so goddamn durable and weaponize these knees and this range that he has up close to bring these knees in. And some guys don't knee to the body well. RDR knees to the body well. You see some guys, Charles Oliveira is a good one. Some guys really dig the point of the knee in, and then some guys just kind of bring the knee up to you. RDR is fucking stabbing you with these knees. And, it closes the gap. By the time you're unless you put them out or you have an answer for these knees and you're not eating them, eventually you will get sapped and you will be labored. Your strikes are going to have more fat on them. And it really does even it for you because towards the end of this fight, they were kind of, tagging each other. Fourth and fifth rounds, both of them were completely gassed. Fucking completely gassed. Jake says, I was confused as to why he wasn't going for more trips. Did you see what was keeping him from doing so? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, look, Rob's good. Rob has very good takedown defense also. And we have seen RDR struggle with some of these with trips, or just jiu-jitsu guys in general struggle with trips in the clinch. But I think part of it also has to do with the fact that he was also exhausted. Both these guys, by the end of the fight, were huffing and puffing. Rob's corner, in between each round, Rob's corner is like, he's fucked. He's fucking gassed. He's fucked. Meanwhile, Rob's like almost hyperventilating in between rounds. Like, I don't know, man. I think both of you guys are in rough states. But I mean, yeah, when you're tired, your techniques are going to be more labored. They're not going to be as effective. And to Blunderbub's point, Rob's boxing is very good. But RDR did have, for the remainder of this fight, I want to say, rounds 4 and 5, he had 2 minutes of control, and a lot of that was up against the fence. And he really didn't attempt that many trips. But part of it might be something that he's maybe learned, because while he is active with trips, if you watch a lot of his fights, he kind of ends up on his back a lot of the times when he goes for the trips. And maybe he's like, this is such a close fight, and I'm exhausted. If if this trip goes poorly and I end up on my back, I don't know if I'm sweeping. I don't know if I'm getting up on top. And maybe that's part of it because he really didn't attempt too much in that control time. I mean, the fifth round was largely control against the fence and not much else. Even when they were at distance, both guys weren't throwing a ton. But it got the job done. I had it 2-2 going into the fifth. A lot of people were saying this is a robbery. One judge did give it to Rob, giving him rounds 4. Round 4. Round 3 was actually crazy the one where Rob dropped him because he cracks him with that overhand, almost puts him out, but then pretty much the rest of the round was RDR's round, and but damage obviously scores. You got to give that round to Rob. But yeah, interesting fight. I actually really like this fight. I like fights that aren't just like super straightforward. There's like some caveats to it and nuances to it, and I think RDR, despite his flaws, has really, really, really developed an elite game. I mean, it shows. He's 20 something and 21-2 now. He was 20-2 going into this. His only 2 losses are to fucking Malikan, who's, they fought at the same weight class, but let's be honest, Malikan's fucking a heavyweight, and they made it work, is all I'll say. And man, did he so durable in those fights. And actually had some success in the second one, surprisingly, but it's just too much. Definitely too much. Blunderub says that you could tell he wasn't too happy with the win this time. Yeah, as soon as they announced it, he almost like looked at Rob like, I don't know about that, but I don't know. Maybe it was more just like, I'm fucking exhausted right now, and I did not enjoy that. And he even said, he's like, I fucking hated that fight. I've seen a couple of interviews now where he's like, I really did not like that fight. Thought I won it, but and they're like, well, what would you do differently? He's like, I'd choke him out in the first round. That'd be much better. You're like, yeah, dude. But this is interesting now because I don't know what you guys think, but going into this fight, let's see, what do we have? Robert Whittaker was number 5. RDR was number 13. We have Duplessis versus Khamzat. The only people above Rob are Izzy, which I don't know what they're doing with him. They're talking about, I know the rumors are that they're just going to have him fight Sean again. But Sean just now got suspended because he charged the cage for that fucking local fight and tried to fight one of the fighters, threw a punch at him, walked at him like an angry mom. So he's suspended indefinitely from Nevada, which other commissions will observe. So I don't know. But honestly, they did it indefinitely. It's probably just like, hey, UFC, let us know when you want him to fight and we'll clear him. But yeah, Khamzat has Duplessis. Imavov is number 1. Imavov has a fight booked, I thought, right? Does he have a fight booked? Let me see. Bear with me here, fellas. Nasruddin Imavov. Yes, he has Barriault coming up in September. And honestly, you could argue, I actually think they kind of fucked up by making the rematch with Dricus and Sean because I thought you should have already done the Khamzat fight, and then that fight would have been done with, and now Imavov, after knocking out Izzy, could have got a title shot, which he probably deserves. Now he has to fight Barriault. But now RDR's like right in the mix there. I don't know if he goes straight to a title shot now. Maybe he fights the winner of Barriault versus Imavov will probably get a title shot just based off timing and where they're at in the rankings. But maybe he fights the loser of that. I think that's a fun fight. Or maybe he fights the loser of Dricus versus Khamzat. I think the Dricus fight would be fucking hilarious. Just both these guys have found a way to be elite fighters despite some very unorthodox techniques. Yeah, that was that kind of this fight in a nutshell. Fun fight though. It kind of sucks that it teetered off a little bit at the end. They're both just so exhausted. But I mean, back and forth, fun fight stylistically too. And then we actually got to see some cool improvements from Whittaker on the ground, especially in the same position that Dricus bullied him in. RDR wasn't really able to do much with it. And I would say RDR is a much better grappler than Dricus. So improvements from Rob even at this point in his game. But we can move on. Co-main event, we had Petr Yan versus Marcus McGhee in a fight that everybody was complaining about when they announced it. They're like, and I guess I understand, right? But just because the huge jump up in the rankings for Marcus McGhee. But he's 35 years old and he looks fucking really good. And we've been fans of this guy for a while now. Since his UFC debut on short notice, we were like, oh, fuck, this guy might be something. And here he is, in the co-main event against Petr Yan, and I thought he held his own pretty well. He won the first round, which I think most people do against Petr Yan, but I don't want to discredit him because uh, Petr was fairly active compared to how he normally is in the first round of his fights, but Marcus McGhee just had a lot of movement that really helped him in that first round. Um, but eventually, rounds 1 and round 2, Petr Yan, they're just different. They're different guys. He turns it up. And every time he fights, the commentary is like, you can't do that in a 3-round fight. He's used to title fights. It's like, it's been a while now. He's had plenty of 3-round fights. It is probably bad to take the first round off, and I don't think he like completely took it off. But it's a dangerous game, right? If you're only in a 3-round fight, if you lose that first one, you better win the next 2. In 5 rounds, you can take it off and you can make up for it. But yeah, I thought Marcus's movement was very good. His whole gym is very good with their movement. They clearly understand it. But eventually, Petr Yan just stalks him and does a great job of initiating clinches, and he's so good at striking off the exit of clinches, man. He's just some of the coolest clinch work in the UFC maybe is from Petr Yan, either breaking from the clinch, or just some of the trips and shit that he does in the clinch are just so cool to watch. But yeah, Marcus fought well. I think all 3 judges gave him the first round, and then he found some cool stuff to do throughout the rest of the fight. He had a nice like a shovel hook off his lead hand that was getting through the guard of Petr. Petr does that, fingers on the head, high guard, and it's tough to get through, but he found his way through a lot of the times. But ultimately, Petr Yan is just like fucking a bag of tricks, man. He's so good. He hits that I'll butcher the Japanese name, but that outside trip that he does. He tried it once, missed it, got it again right into a Kimura, and that was fucking awesome. And I thought he was gonna get the Kimura. It looked pretty bad, but he didn't have the control with his legs. There's that. It's like a corkscrew punch, like a up jab or shovel hook, whatever you want to call it. Nice punch from Marcus McGhee, and good against the long guard of Petr Yan. Petr Yan likes to put his fist straight in your face and just hold it there, frame off on you, and this is a nice weapon for that, to deal with that. But Sean O'Malley had success against Petr Yan, so Marcus McGhee, it makes sense that he would too. But yeah, here's the Kimura attempt. That was fucking nasty. He just didn't quite have the control, but props to Marcus for defending it. Blunderwood says, I didn't get to watch this one because ESPN decided just this fight replay wasn't available in my read. Jesus Christ, ESPN's such a dog shit. It's so bad. I hope they're out of there, man. Like, I hope they find somewhere else, and I hope it's not a split between like, oh, fight nights on ESPN, pay-per-views on this, a fucking contender series on this, like just mixing it up all crazy. Apex events over here, because it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. But yeah, it was a fun fight. Not too much in it. There was a really cool a lot of time spent here from Petr Yan, and hilarious because he's looking up at the clock, thinking, how much time is left? Should I try something cool, or should I wait until there's, just in case I get fucked up right now? And then as the clock wore down, he did try some cool shit, and he hits this cool ass trip, man, where he just kind of fucking drops, spins around. I don't know what it's called. Sticks his leg out and fucking tabletops you basically. Very cool. He's just such a bag of tricks, man. Yeah, he gets the win. I don't know if they do title shot. I know some people are saying, yeah, he gave him Merab already, even without this fight, and now there's another fight. But yeah, not much. It was a fun fight, but nothing like too crazy, I would say. But the next fight was a good one. Even better, I should say. We had Shara Bullet versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Shara Bullet, they're not really doing him a ton of favors at this point with the matchmaking. I'm not saying like Marc-Andre Barriault like a destroyer or anything like that, but stylistically, this is potentially a bad night for Shara Bullet. And we actually got to see Shara Bullet show some things that we haven't really seen him have to show yet, which is cool. So props to Marc-Andre. He had that big that knockout over Bruno Silva. So they give him this fight. Blunderwood says in wrestling we call it dumping him. Yeah, that Petr Yan throw. But clear game plan coming into this for Marc-Andre. Clinch. Get him up against the fence, smother him, don't let him get his kicks off. And you can see heavy pressure from him. He's trying to execute that game plan. Shara Bullet's doing a good job with his movement and trying to keep him away with long weapons, side kicks, hook kicks, jabs, things like that, where he's good at range, right? And Marc eventually does get in the clinch, and Shara Bullet's just chewing him up with close range weapons at that point. Throwing knees, throwing elbows, hits him in the top of the head with an elbow, cuts him open. Look at that, Rich right on cue. Cuts him open, he's leaking, and you're like, oh, fuck. And it starts to look pretty bad, and you're like, okay, not the cut, but just, the how it's going for Marc-Andre. But then he cracks him with the right hand, breaks his nose, stuns him, and you're like, oh shit, we got ourselves a fight. And now we have Shara Bullet back up against the fence, and Marc-Andre Barriault is dirty boxing him. He gets him with the single collar tie. He's spamming uppercuts. I mean, look at this shit. Fucking, this is how you want to fight Shara Bullet. And at this point, Shara Bullet's leaking. He looks bothered by the broken nose. And I'm like, oh no, we haven't really seen him have to, dig through or like a gut check moment for Shara Bullet. We haven't really seen him in that. And he passed it with flying colors because that's a flurry. That's a dangerous flurry. And eventually, after some breathing, some chilling up against the fence, he starts just doubling up, tripling up on elbows of his own again. Good in-close weapons. Clearly, he knows people are going to try to clinch him and hold him down, take him down. And Marc-Andre did take him down a couple times, but he was able to pop right back up. But definitely a gut check moment from Shara Bullet. We've seen a lot of these guys who are flashy strikers who aren't used to getting caught clean, get put through the ringer a little bit and not be able to pull through. And he pulled through. It was good. And Marc-Andre was there for him the whole fight, coming forward. Almost got finished at one point. Got wobbled by a head kick. It's a fun scrap. But yeah, Shara Bullet, man. Say what you will about him as a person, especially before he came to the UFC, but he's maybe turned some things around now. And it sucks that he can't fight in America because we get to see him fight more often. His fights are fun. But that was a good fight. I liked it. I don't know what you guys thought about it. We can move on. We're gonna skip Almabaya versus Ochoa, even though it was a fun fight. It's just not much to really talk about in it without getting too in the weeds, and it kind of derail things, I think. So we're gonna move on to Bogdan Guskov versus Nikita Krylov. This is when they announced this fight, you're like, okay, this has. In my opinion, I thought this has a lot of potential. This is a fun fight, fun matchup. Krylov was gone for a while, but now he's back. He got finished by Dominic Reyes. I think that was his comeback fight. Yes, that was his comeback fight. After 2 years off, they give him Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes knocks him out in the first round. And you're like, okay, well, maybe it's the layoff. And so they give him Guskov, who's a pretty big puncher in his own right. And man, Guskov really impressed me in this fight. It wasn't just like a knockout. Yes, this is Gothmog. This is Azog the Defiler. He's the pale orc. Gothmog's brutal, man. Gothmog, that's the one, the Harvey Weinstein orc. I think we go through this every time he fights. But yes, fight starts. Krylov heavy pressure, but Guskov's doing a good job of just kind of staying patient and really picking up on tendencies of Krylov. And this was the one time he really charged forward or initiated an exchange. And he tuned him up a little bit, but then Krylov said, fucking watch yourself, and cracks him with, I think, a right hand at the end of this combination. I think there's a picture of that too. He says, hold on, man. You're not just going to run through me. Yeah, there's that right hand. And then let's keep it here, Rich, before we go to the next picture, because the next one's the finish. But some of the things that I think impressed me with Guskov in this fight is Krylov got a little predictable with his movement and what he was initiating the striking with. He's doing that thing, right, where you're like feinting as you're coming in, like drop, like, oh, am I shooting? I don't know. But it's not just like it's not just one feint. It's, he's kind of bouncing in like he's in water, right? He's like a buoy. And he's coming in, and then it's just a little bit too predictable. And, if you're just coming in like that, as you're landing back down, it takes time to recover to be able to move again, like, because you're digging in now. And there was a couple times where he would wade himself in, and then right when he plants, bam, Guskov would crack him once and then escape. And you're like, oh, that's nice. He's starting to come up with or figure out his movement a little bit. And the other thing was Krylov was opening up with kicks, right? Because the movement, they weren't in punching range a ton of the time, but he wasn't putting anything, he wasn't disguising the kicks, he wasn't feinting or anything like that before kicking. He would just enter in with a kick, and he got cracked a couple times as he was doing that. But the big one is he hops in to do like a step up inside leg kick, and fucking Guskov's ready for it because he's figured him out already. He's just a little bit too predictable, and he uncorks a right hand that goes straight through him. And I think there's a good sequence of pictures here to show you the devastation of this right hand from Guskov. I believe it was a right hand. There it is. So he steps up for the inside leg kick and fucking eats this right hand, punches straight through him. He goes down. Guskov follows him to the ground. He's just nasty. Follows him to the ground, lands a ton of ground and pound. Ends up, Krylov goes to like belly down, almost try to turtle, but Guskov flattens him out and then just beats him up. Blunderbuff says battle of the back pieces. Yeah, what do you want? Some warrior or a cosmic traveler? But then, maybe it's fitting because Guskov had him astral traveling with that one, to quote Michael Chavello. But we can actually show it really quick because the UFC posted a cage side video of this one. So let me just pull this up. I should have had this queued up already. My bad. All right, here it is. Cage side footage of the knockout. Bam, big right hand, puts him down, and then just doesn't let up. And at this point, Krylov's good off his back too. He's pretty dangerous. He's got a lot of weapons on the floor, but when you get cracked like that, you don't quite have it. You see him trying to go for the leg, but it's not going to happen. And good finishing from Guskov. I like Guskov a lot, man. Full send MMA. Lose my fucking number. Man, Krylov's chin is gone. Tell me who eats this punch and doesn't get finished? I guess RDR maybe. but that punch puts people out cold. Krylov doesn't have a bad chin. Let's be real. He's just fighting this is MMA jellyfish. This comment's probably better. He's good at getting caught these days. The chin is not gone. 174 likes. What the fuck are we doing? But yes, fun fight. I like both those guys. They delivered. Unfortunately, Krylov had to go out. Blunderbuff says that last frame is brutal. It is brutal, man. I mean, belly down finishes can be fucking rough because you're like getting hit and your face is just fucking. If you go out, your face just face plants over and over again. But props to Guskov. This guy is fun, man. So far in the UFC, he's now 18-3, but so far in the UFC, he loses his debut. Ozdemir chokes him out. Then he knocks out Zach Pauga, knocks out Ryan Spann, knocks out Billy Elikana. He beat the brakes off of him and then choked him out. And then knocks out Nikita Krylov. So he's someone to watch at light heavyweight. I like him a lot. And, he's showing things that, like I said, he picked up on some tendencies in this fight. It wasn't just like I'll just throw my shit and hope I knock you out. But yeah, that's it for that one. Then we had the prelim main event. We had Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. There's not a ton of photos of this one just because it was a lot of grappling, and it seems like they just never post the photos of the grappling for some reason. Even though there was some really cool grappling in this fight. Say what you will about Bryce Mitchell being like a shitty person and all that stuff, but he's got good jiu-jitsu. So he's got that going for him, I guess. But he moves down. This is his bantamweight debut, and it looks to be the right spot. I mean, looking at these two guys, they're almost in a mirror. They look very similar in size, even though Saeed's obviously a little bit longer. But heavy pressure from Bryce Mitchell early. You want to smother the kicks from Saeed Nurmagomedov. So he does that. But while he does that, he eats this massive fucking knee in the first round that Saeed just times perfect. I mean, Saeed's whole game is keep you at range so I can kick you. And if you come in close, I will time you with knees. And Blunderbuff says, how old is Guskov? Oh, Rich is on it. Damn, Rich. Okay. He's 32. Which at light heavyweight, he might as well be 20. But yes, he's crashing into Saeed, trying to grapple him because, he's going to get chewed up in the striking if they stay at kicking range. But with his back up against the fence, Saeed fucking smokes him with his knee. Just a nice bam. And Bryce goes down, does a good job to recover, eats a couple shots from Saeed. But then from there on, this was just a ton of fun grappling. Bryce is very creative. We talked about jiu-jitsu guys not having good takedowns. He's very good at creating leverage for trips and throws and stuff. in the clinch. But Saeed, on the other side of that, is very good at shifting his weight somehow while he's going down. He's like a fucking cat, like cats fall and they flip around and shit. They end up on their feet. Saeed's like that. Some very cool grappling in this fight. Cool transitions, cool reversals, a couple submission attempts, nothing too crazy, but just some really cool takedowns. And then, yeah, Bryce gets it done. 29-28. He loses the first round because of the knockdown, but that's about it for old Bryce Mitchell. He's still doing it, unfortunately. But we'll move on to a fight that we all scoped out before this card as being one that will probably deliver. And this was Davey Grant versus Damon Blackshear. Fucking love Davey Grant. How could you not love Davey Grant? This dude is so fun to watch. And Blackshear's very cool too. He's dropped some fights. He got knocked out by Montel Jackson. He lost Mario Bautista. He lost to Basharat. But those are pretty fucking good names, man. Nothing, just like no shame in losing those fights. But he's got a twister against Jose Johnson. He rear naked choked Cody Stamen. He Kimura'd Cody Gibson. That was a fun fight. He beats Alang Tali. I'll probably butchered that, but whatever. So this fight is very cool to watch. Good striking, fun striking from Davey Grant, and very cool grappling from Blackshear. And in the first round, Davey Grant throws like a naked leg kick, and Blackshear grabs it and takes him down. And immediately I was like, fuck. I like Blackshear, but I got to root for my boy Davey Grant in this one. And he takes him down. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be tricky. And Davey Grant's no slouch on the ground. He's had some cool things that he's done in the past on the ground. But Blackshear's another level, I think. And he takes him down off the leg kick. Takes his back, almost chokes him out. Switches to an armbar, doesn't quite get it. But the whole first round is pretty much Blackshear dominating on the ground. Let me see what the stats were. I think I skipped a fight too. Yes, we'll have to go back. Sorry about that, Rich. You're probably like, what the fuck? But yes, first round, 3 minutes and 52 seconds of ground control from Blackshear. They credit him with one submission attempt, probably the rear naked choke. The armbar, I guess, never quite made it. But Davey Grant survives. Second round, I'm like, Davey, don't throw any kicks. Don't throw any kicks. Yeah, of course, he threw a ton of kicks, and it really worked for him, which is why I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But don't open combinations with kicks unless fucking you're there for it. And I'll talk about that in a second. But really good pressure immediately from Davey Grant in the first or the second round. And I saw a ton of people shitting on Blackshear for being like, wow, he out-grappled him in the first round and then just never really did anything for the rest of the fight. But it's because of the shit that Davey Grant was doing. It's not because Blackshear just stopped fighting. It's because Davey Grant had the foot on the gas, pressured him. It's so hard to shoot takedowns if you're on your back foot. And Davey Grant was just walking him down for the majority of this fight, attacking to the body, punching him to the body, big combinations with starting to the body, ending up on top, finishing the combination on top, finishing with the high kick to knock him off balance so he's not there to counter. Just really good work from Davey Grant, because if you're afraid or you're thinking this guy's going to shoot on me, if you open up your combinations to the body, first off, if it lands, great. You're taking away the gas tank, which is good against a grappler. But if he is shooting and you're punching low to the body, you can stop a takedown with that, or at least discourage it, because you don't want to shoot into a body punch and just get fucking clipped. And so that's very good. If you open up your combination with like a jab or like a big overhand or something like that, you can duck under that and end up on the hips and take them down. So by starting it to the body, you take that away. Now, once you've landed to the body, even if it's blocked or anything like that, and then you start working your way up to the head, the reactionary takedowns, the counter takedown isn't really there anymore. And if it is at the end of the combination where you're done punching, now he can shoot on you while you try to exit or something. But he finishes with the high kick. So now you have to block the high kick. It knocks you off balance. Now he can escape, which is it's fucking so good, man. He clearly understands the game so well. And it really just stopped Blackshear from being able to take him down or grapple or anything. He just kind of stayed on the back foot for the rest of the fight and got kind of lit up a little bit. He had a couple moments of success with some long straight punches, but largely it was Davey Grant just walking him down and preventing Blackshear from implementing his game, which is that's the name of the game. So a very good fight for Davey Grant. I'm glad to see him win. He's fucking 38 or something like that, 39. I don't know, but good win for Davey Grant. But we'll go back a fight. That's on me. We'll go to Muslim Salikhov versus Carlos Leal. This was also one that going into it last week, we are like, oh, that has high potential. Salikhov, also, just like Davey Grant, up there a little bit, 41 years old. Coming into this fight, he has that split decision win over Ponzinibbio, and then he knocked out Song Kanong with the fucking wheel kick, which is so sick. It's just fucking Muslim Salikhov is so goddamn cool. And Carlos Leal, dude, this guy's fucking sick too. You know, he's a Terminator, really. And we'll keep it right here, Rich, because immediately the fight starts and Carlos is up on the gas, up in his face, saying, "Don't you fucking dare try to spin on me. I'm not letting you get these kicks off. I'm going to stay in your face and crowd you so you can't get your," again, like we just talked about, prevent you from doing what you do best. And Salikhov was like, "That's fine." Because this is also one we can show. If you want to watch somebody get murked, here's the cage side footage of this knockout. God damn, dude. Holy smokes. Carlos Leal just, you know, that's the game. You have to be foot on the gas like that. But Salikhov slips it, lands a nasty, huge overhand, and fucking puts him out. Walks away, gets the walk-off knockout in the first round. I think we were only 42 seconds into this. So there's some pictures of this just to show you how fucking clean this is. Carlos enters with that big left hand, misses because Salikhov just slips off to the side, comes over with this counter overhand right, and just fucking, I mean, they're both moving into each other with this one, so it adds to it even more. Just fucking puts him out, crumbles him, and he just walks away. No follow-up shots needed. Fucking let me land this right hand and get the fuck out of here. I'm 40. I'm tired. Yeah, Vulnerable says the grandpa walk-off. I mean, back-to-back fights. We had Davey Grant and Salikhov. Davey Grant is 39. So both these guys, pretty much damn near 40, both getting some good wins back-to-back. It was really cool to see. And, you know, it takes two to tango. Carlos, this knockout doesn't happen if he's not a fucking tank in his own right. And he had the right game plan. He just, you know, maybe overextended a little bit with that big left hand. And Salikhov just slipped out the center line. Big overhand. Pretty sick. Love to see it. So now we got Tabatha Ricci versus Amanda Ribas. And yeah, I'll give Rich some time because I skipped on him, so he has to go jump around. But yeah, Ricci versus Ribas. Yeah, first round. Vulnerable Salikhov's 41 according to the tape. Yeah, goddamn. You fucking sick. Power's the last thing to go, right? We had a lot of like older fighters. Davey Grant, Muslim Salikhov. We just had Michael Johnson beat Zellhuber of all people in a fight that everyone thought was, you know, putting him off to pasture. It's fucking cool to see, you know. But yeah, Ricci versus Ribas. First round, Ricci trying to pressure. Ribas trying to just kind of like sidestep and land these shots. And she tags her a little bit, a couple times. We had the classic head and arm throw. Which is just fucking hilarious to see these days. But yeah, she gets the head and arm throw, the sweep, I guess. Not sweep, it's just a throw. Throws her, gets her down, Ricci right back up because that's how that goes. You either get the throw. These days, you either throw somebody and give up your back by doing it, or they get right back up. And she got right back up. And then just pressure for the rest of this fight. In between rounds, I didn't get to see it because ESPN doesn't show the corner work. But they talked about in the booth how her corner was saying, once you get to the fence, elbow, elbow, elbow. So she gets to the fence and she starts elbowing her. And you're like, oh, these are some nice elbows. Because she got the, I think she has like an overhook on one arm. No, she has the underhook, which works, right? You can control the underhook. And that's actually the more traditional way. And then it's kind of cool to see RDR is the opposite. He'll get that overhook and keep you there with it. And that's how he drives to the body. But a little bit more traditional here. You get the underhook. And then with your free hand, because usually If you watch Craig Jones Balls to Wall, one of the things he talks about with anti-cage wrestling, if your back is up against the fence and someone's trying to shoot on you, you want to grab that overhook, like Ribas has here, and then with your other hand, wrist control, right? Grab their other hand, wrist control, and you can use that overhook to pull them up and prevent them from getting down. So she's doing the right things there, but that underhook you can keep control, land these elbows. This is the one. She's mostly forearms, right, up to the fence with your free hand. After she's not getting wrist controlled by Ribas. Big elbows up against the fence. This one she like goes up and then in with the elbow right to the fucking eye. And you can see Ribas is like, oh no. And she doesn't grab it or anything because she doesn't have a hand to do it with. But she just kind of slowly goes down. She's like, I am done. I don't want this anymore. And Ricci, stays on top, hits her with some shots until the ref steps in. And you're like, oh man, that's nasty. And I've seen some people say like, oh, she should retire. There's no heart there. Like most people dig through that. Turns out she's already broken that orbital, broke it again, and they got to put a plate in. So it's kind of fair to not fight through that, in my opinion. Point of the elbow to the fucking eye socket is nasty, man. But yeah, good finish there for Ricci. So props to her. We are going to skip Billy Elikana versus Aslan because it was fucking horrible. One of the worst fights I've seen in a long time. So we're going to move on to Stephen Nguyen against Mohammad Yahya. This one broke the record, set a new record for most knockdowns in a UFC fight. And I believe it was officially 6. I think it was 7. I went back and rewatched it. They said the first one didn't count because they counted it more as a trip. And he cracked him during a high kick. So maybe they're like, well, he was just off balance. No, watch that shit again. He fucked him up with that punch. And for the rest of this fight, he just kept fucking dropping him. And Yahya would just recover. He'd crack him with this big shot. And he'd go down. He'd eat a couple shots. And he's back in it. And a lot of people are shitting on Herzog for not calling this fight earlier. I don't think you really call this on any of the knockdowns. I think you call it in between rounds because I think he had 5 knockdowns in the first round. Yeah, 5 knockdowns in the first round. I think it was 6 knockdowns in the first round. They probably should have called it in between rounds because Mohammad Yahya really struggled to get over to the stool. They didn't. Second round starts, he gets dropped. But then he stuns Steven. He cracks him with one. He fucking falls back, and you're like, oh no, do we have ourselves a fight? No, because after that, it was all Steven cracking him over and over and over again. The swelling on the face is fucking insane. And then, but he survives the round. If you look at the significant strikes, 24-33 in that second round, so he was still in it. But in between rounds, Herzog steps in and is like, fuck this, it's over. Because, I mean, look at the next shot really shows, I mean, oh my God. That's fucking crazy. But insane recovery skills from Mohammad Yahya because, and you could argue, I've seen some people say like, oh yeah, Steven doesn't have the finishing instinct or he should have like followed up more on the ground. He could have got the finish, but Yahya was doing the right things after getting dropped. You know, he was there. He's just getting lit up on the feet and the, equilibrium's gone completely, but the recovery was there. I think 7 knockdowns. They gave him 6. Pretty insane to watch, though. It's just like every single punch that landed, it seemed like it dropped him. Jesus. Yeah, it was crazy. But we can move on. We had Martin Buday versus Buchecha. And look, Buchecha coming over from one championship, heavyweight over there. I think his last fight was the Rug fight. No, he had Ali Akbari, I think. Yes, after Rug, he had Ali Akbari where he choked him out in the first round. That was November of 2024, so it's been 8 months, almost 9 months since then. I'd say it's beginning of November, so I'd say let's say 9 months. If my math is correct, which is usually wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's been a long time. But he signs with the UFC, very hyped because the heavyweight division's horrible in the UFC, and everyone's like, let's fucking go. Let's get some new blood in here. And look, I don't want to be disrespectful here, but Buchecha has always struggled with his gas tank. It's always been a struggle. Everybody knows he's a BJJ prodigy. His ground skills are insane, especially for a heavyweight. But the takedowns aren't there. We saw that. He was getting stuffed over and over and over again. Eventually, he does get him down. I think in the second round. Second round. Yes, he was 0 for 6 for takedowns in the first round. Didn't eat a ton of damage, but was getting clipped a little bit by Buday. Second round, he does get a takedown. Has 3 minutes of control with it. Takes his back, goes for a Kimura. Ends up on the bottom, though, towards the end of the round because he just doesn't have the control on top. And both these guys are pouring sweat. I don't know if he's just real slippery or he just didn't have the control. And we've seen that a lot lately of guys getting the back and falling off because they don't have control. But it's kind of crazy to see Buchecha in that situation. But, I mean, just exhausted. Buchecha's just exhausted. He gassed out. Buday stops 4 takedowns in the third round. Outstrikes him 13-2 in the third round. And gets the win. And everyone's saying, like, oh, it was short notice. He signed with the UFC like 2 weeks ago. He had a long layoff. So there's like things going on behind the scenes that can contribute to this. People said I thought a lot of people said he showed up fat. Can we go back to the face-off picture, Rich? Doesn't look fat to me. Looks pretty fucking good, I would say. But it's like people are saying, "Oh, why did he take this fight if on short notice if he wasn't in good shape?" And it's like, have you not seen any of his fights? This is what it is. He struggles with the gas tank. He struggles with it. He's a heavyweight. He puts a lot of effort into takedowns that he doesn't end up getting, and then he gasses. It's pretty common at heavyweight, especially. That being said, I think there's some things that will improve here. I don't want to write him off like a lot of people are already. People are saying he's a bust already. First off, we talked about it in this show. UFC debuts are hard. And, you know, I love one championship. The show loves one championship. It's fucking awesome. I have fucking sitting right here is the fucking RDR versus Malikin. Fucking we love one. But, you know, we all know they struggle with booking fights, especially in MMA. And, you know, if you look at Buchecha, his last fight was against Ali Akbari in November. Before that was over a year prior against Rug. Before that was exactly a year against Grushenko. So it's like since 2022, he's had 1, 2, 3 fights before this in 3 years. So I think it's one of those things where, you know, you can train all the time and you're going to get in pretty good shape, but fights are different. It's fucking different. You know, even just like fucking jiu-jitsu competitions. The jiu-jitsu competition that I did, I could go fucking 10-minute rounds in the gym doing jiu-jitsu, just grappling, sparring round after round, right? The competition I did, gassed out within like the first 45 seconds. So like it's different when there's the pressure, especially UFC debut, right? There's the pressure. It's a big show. Abu Dhabi is hot as fuck. There's a few guys were gassing out on this card. So there's some things here that I'm not willing to completely write him off. But I think in the UFC, if he continues to get consistency and booked, which hopefully he will because he's a heavyweight, and we need some life in heavyweight. If he can get some consistency as far as matchmaking goes, like timeline wise, get some activity in there, get more comfortable fighting in the UFC, and in the actual fight where it matters, where you're going to put more effort into it than you are in training. There's more stakes, there's more adrenaline, all that stuff can contribute to your gas tank. So if he just gets some more reps in actual competition, I think the gas tank can improve. So I'm willing to see where he goes. I don't think this is like it for him or anything like that. It's crazy. He's only 35. Fucking at heavyweight, like I said, about light heavyweight. He could be, might as well be 20. So yeah, we'll see. Also, it's only his seventh MMA fight in general. I mean, come on. Shout out David says, how do you see Dolidze versus De Ridder go in case it happens? I think De Ridder beats Dolidze. I think Dolidze, I don't think he can grapple with RDR. And yeah, he beat Vettori. He knocked out Kevin Holland, but that was like a weird injury thing. He was probably gonna win that fight anyways. I mean, he could crack him. The problem though is Delize is fairly predictable with like how he strikes. He's got like the big power punches. It's like what he throws all the time, and that might land on RDR. But I think RDR can grit through that and make it a sloppy fight. I think RDR gasses out Delize and I think he probably submits Delize. But it'd be a fun fight. I'd like to see it. He could crack him. Ganska. Hey, shout out Ganska. It's been a while. RDR versus DDP is the sloppiest. I need to see exact same, dude. That's why I'm sorry, Imavov. If Drickus beats Hamzat, we gotta do it. We gotta settle this. RDR versus DDP. The sloppiest shit ever. It'd be so fun. It'd be a great fight, honestly. It'd be really cool. David says Delize is a black belt in BJJ too. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, but let's be real. To quote Islam Makhachev, who gives? Who give him black belt? RDR's black belt is bona fide, tested in MMA against very good grapplers. Delize, he's got some submissions, right? What do we have? He technically does he have any submissions? No, he doesn't. Damn, I thought he choked somebody out. Not in the UFC, at least. But yeah, I think RDR beats him on the ground. RDR is sneaky, man. If watch some of his, watch the who was it that he was it? Fuck, how do I not remember this? That he got the inverted triangle on. Big Dash. I was gonna say Big Dash, and I was like, no, that's wrong. Don't be stupid. And I should have just said it. But yeah, I mean, he beat André, or he took André Galval to a draw. You know, in jiu-jitsu, like he's so fucking good. So many cool submissions in his arsenal. His Darce choke is also very good. Yeah, I think he subs Delize in that fight. I think it's a sloppy fight on the feet, and Delize gasses because he's big. He's got a lot of muscle on him, and then I think he eventually takes him down and chokes him out or something. But I would like to see it. Let's see. That's it. That's it for this card. I forgot to do a moment of silence, but we did lose some fights. The big one, we just won't put it up. Or maybe I'll just share my screen. No, it's only one that really matters. Evloev versus Aaron Pico was supposed to be on this card. Sucks that we didn't get to see that. Pico in his UFC debut. Evloev on the cusp of a title shot. That's a big fight for the division. Doesn't happen. But they announced yesterday that Pico is going to get Lerone Murphy, and he's getting Lerone Murphy on 319. I think it's the co-main. Yes. So yeah, fun fight. Lerone Murphy, I really, really like. Pico, I think it makes more sense in my opinion for a debut of Pico, just because I think Evloev should get a title shot already. I don't think he should be fighting anybody else. So I think this makes more sense. But a win here might catapult you over Evloev, because it seems like the UFC doesn't want him to get a title shot. So maybe Pico gets one if he beats Lerone Murphy. If Lerone Murphy wins, everybody will write Pico off as a top talent in another org, but not UFC level, or at least not elite UFC level. Despite time and time again, we see people lose their debuts, but maybe that's the theme of the episode. But yeah, that's about it. Bonuses. Salikhov got a bonus for knocking out Carlos Leal in 45 seconds at 41 years old, which is pretty fucking cool. Stephen Nguyen gets one for setting the record for most knockdowns in a fight. Should be 7. They gave him 6. Should be 7. So once someone gets 7, they should tie him. And then fight of the night was Shara Bullet versus Marc-Andre Barriault, because that was a fucking good fight. I've seen some people say the main event should have been the fight of the night. I think because it kind of teetered off at the end, it didn't get it. But this was a banger through and through. But yeah, good card from the UFC. When they go over to the Middle East, they put together some good shit. Next week, what do we got? Oh, next week's good. Next week, first off, I'll share my screen, Rich, because I didn't put it in the slides. We've got one Fight Night 34. Irsel versus Jarvis is fucking awesome. Gary Tonin is back against Gasanov. Good stuff. My boy Vanilla Thunder, Ben Tynan, is back against Grushenko. It's been a long time. Oh, dang. Yeah. This is good. We'll see. We got Supergirl back. From Rawi? Hell yeah. We got Legatron is back. He had I don't think it ended up being an ACL. I think it was an MCL. I could be wrong. Tristan would know. Kong Ji Wan. Yeah, this is a good card, man. Ellis Barbosa's back. Very good card from one on Prime. Friday Fights main event was solid. Yes, it was. It was. Also, my boy Tyson Harrison got the dub. That was a sick ass knockout. 3 knockdown rule. And then UFC, we got my boy Tatsuda Taira in a main event against Amir Albazi. That should be a win for Tatsuda, hopefully. Chris Duncan versus I forgot how you don't pronounce that the way it's said. I don't remember what it was, but he's coming off that banger, I think, with Oralby, right? Was it his last fight? Yes. That's gonna be a fun fight. Ribovich is back against Elvis Brenner. That's a fucking guaranteed banger. Karahosa, Neil Magny versus Zaleski dos Santos. Reinier Nakamura is back. Rodolfo Vieira. Yeah, this is a fun card too. Yeah, good weekend next weekend. I like what we got. Blunderup says, good to see Harrison back and winning. Yeah, Harrison's such a cool guy, man. Nice dude. And dangerous. It was nice to see him just kind of run through somebody too. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe. I don't think I even said that at the top, but like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that stuff. If you don't like listening, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or if you don't like watching, I should say, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Google Podcasts, I think it's called now. But yeah, YouTube's the way to go because we can show clips, we can show photos, all that stuff. And then follow us on social media. It's at Story of the Fight on everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Just go to storyofthefight.com and it'll list everything. You can click through and hit follow. You can chat with us outside of the show because we enjoy talking fights, not just on Sundays, but every day. Ramiro wasn't here, but I got through it with the help of y'all in the chat and our lovely producer, Richard Bustos. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.